Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the NVIDIA Omniverse live stream. We are so excited to have you join us today. And because we have a very special live stream planned, we're very fortunate to have members from TurboSquid joining us today. Um, uh, it's been a while since we had you here, Dave. So awesome to have you back. This community is super excited. Feel free to start posting your questions for TurboSquid in the chat. We also have PinkpocketTV's Israel. Thank you so much for coming. Great video producer on YouTube. And speaking of video producers on YouTube, we also have, as you can see, Jay Selena from JS Films. Very happy to have each of you here. And I'm very happy to introduce a very special member of the NVIDIA team, Richard Yarlett. Richard is very active on the forums, as you probably have noticed if you've been posting questions or sharing stuff there, or also on our Discord. But Richard, welcome to the live stream. This is your first live stream, right?
Yeah, my first live stream ever.
So we're going to go really tough on you and ask you some really difficult questions. We're going to try to make you sweat. Great. Talk about your childhood. We'll really dive into everything. I'm just kidding. But Richard, you tell everybody a little about your background so they get to know you a little bit better.
I'm from England, and I moved over in 2000. I have a degree in industrial design, and I joined NVIDIA only a year and a half ago. But I've actually worked a little bit with them over the years as a GPU consultant. Very big in the mental array, going old school. Used to use mental array, and then iRay. And then eventually got into the Omniverse, and great to see that iRay is still part of the Omniverse infrastructure, and I love using it every day.
That's awesome. And I hear word on the street is that you may be a Lego fan. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm a big Lego fan. I've got my background blurred, but this is full of Star Wars and Lego, or Star Wars Lego.
Well, maybe we can have you do a show and tell. I don't know if you caught a live stream we did with Stephen Tong, Funky Boy, who showed off his Omniverse extension showing actually Legos.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So speaking of which, let's see if we can, let me see, I'll turn this overlay off for a second. We have a couple quick announcements before we get started with everybody. Richard, are you planning to be at GTC?
Definitely planning on being there. Yes, would love to.
Okay, cool. So yes, the in-person GTC is back March 18th to 21st. You can find out all the information about what's being planned by heading to nvidia.com/GTC. I'll be there. Members of the community team, many members of the development team will be there. It's going to be a great place to come learn, be part of sessions. We have many partners presenting, many engineers and developers presenting, some users presenting. We're going to have some nice in-person events also, including kind of a user group style type of event. So lots of cool things coming together. Registration is not open just yet, but it will be open soon. So keep your eyes open for that page. And we'll also mention updates as they happen here on the live stream. We have actually last week, we had just covered Blender workflows. And I'm hoping to have a member from the Blender team join us pretty soon. The timing didn't work for them on last week's live stream, but we're planning a future one. So we'll keep you guys updated to that. But the Blender connector has really improved quite significantly. So we encourage any Blender users there to give the Omniverse version of Blender a try, which has the ideal kind of import exporting for USD and really smooth workflow. So if you have any questions, check out last week's live stream. We also have a nice Blender playlist. If you need help with that, we'll post that in the chat as well. But Blender fans have a lot to be excited about. We had Blender Bob on last week, who also shared how far along Blender has come. It's always been good, but even now it's just amazing. So for all the Blender users out there, there's lots of great ways to leverage USD with your Blender workflow. We also have the next installment is now live. This is Aaron Luck, has been producing some fantastic videos on OpenUSD. The latest one is about the utilizing custom schemas. It's only about 7 minutes long or so, I think, if I remember. Really good video. I think anyone who's really diving into anything related to USD should really watch Aaron Luck's series. He also has another series called The Superpowers of USD. We'll post those links in the chat, but I highly recommend them. The newest one is really fantastic and really sheds a lot of light on how to leverage custom schemas. We did talk a lot about OpenUSD at the latest CGraph. Those sessions are now available online for folks. We held them during the OpenUSD day. So if you didn't make it, no worries, you can watch it now. And if you did make it and you want to kind of refresh your memory or go back, you can go ahead and watch those sessions now. Also, at CGraph, we talked about our OpenUSD All-Stars and released an ebook. You'll recognize some of these names from previous live streams and also from their work in the community. Some of these are prolific posters on LinkedIn. Also, Rafi, who just came back from IBC last week and chatted with another Omniverse user, Brett Danton. We're going to actually have Brett on a future live stream. He's been part of GTC for a while, working on videos that we've shown from WPP. So Rafi sat down with him. So if you follow him on LinkedIn, you'll see one of his latest videos on that. But also Benjamin, Pink Fan, Michael Wagner, Vanessa Rosa, Kirill, lots of great creators doing different things. If you want to get a good inspiration to learn about how other people are leveraging USD and their workflows for their work, this All-Stars book is a great place to start. And then I think finally, super excited about the Alliance for OpenUSD. It's amazing to see partners like Pixar and Adobe and Apple and Autodesk, along with NVIDIA and others, coming together to make sure that there's broad awareness and education and excitement and development on OpenUSD. So we encourage people who want to get involved to check out the OpenUSD website. There's also forums for developers who want to get involved there more deeply. But I think it's a fantastic time for the industry to all work together on something as exciting as USD to leverage a multi-app workflow, so people don't have to stop using the apps that you know and love and from working with others. Okay, cool. So I'm really honored to have everybody here, as I said earlier. Let's start with actually Dade and Lucas. So Dade, you've been on the stream before. Lucas is brand new, like Richard. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, starting with Dade, about your background and kind of what you do at TurboSquid, and then Lucas can do the same.
Yeah, so Dade Ogeron, the VP of Innovation at TurboSquid and Shutterstock. My background goes way back with TurboSquid. So it's going to be, I think, 10 years in a few months that I've been working with the TurboSquid team. So it's been a very exciting part of my career of kind of taking all my experience from 3D production all these years before that, and then applying it to our customer needs as we move forward. So lots of really amazing and cool stuff happening at TurboSquid right now, especially with new technologies that we're pushing. One of the things, and I won't steal Lucas's thunder, but one of the things we're really excited about is an upgrade to our StemCell platform, which is a standardized asset, if you will, so that 3D content can move freely through a variety of different platforms. But either way, with that, I'll pass it over to Lucas to give his intro.
Yeah, I'm Lucas Brown. I'm one of the newer squids on the block. I've only been here maybe a year and a half, but yeah, I have a background in animation. That's what I went to school for. I've worked in games, movies, product design, pipelines, all sorts of stuff, anything that's technical and 3D. So I'm the 3D technical director at TurboSquid Shutterstock. And I interface with the technical artists, the product team, and the engineers to try to make the whole thing come together. So I wear a lot of hats, run around, do a lot of things. Yeah, and so it's been interesting to transition into this kind of a marketplace. There's a lot of different problems. Usually, I'm used to studios having 1 or 2 DCCs. I'm not used to working in 5 different DCCs every single day. So it's been a challenge and fun time. And then of course USD and Omniverse has been one of the big things that I mess around with and spend my time in. So that's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. And yeah, I have to say, so I have a long personal history with TurboSquid because we worked with TurboSquid when I was over at THQ working on Frontline's Field of War and then Homefront. You just fantastic partner for assets. But for people who may not be so familiar, or maybe they're new to 3D world, they're just diving in. How would you define TurboSquid, and what kind of services are you guys providing to the community?
Well, I mean, so TurboSquid has been, one of the #1 providers of 3D content for, all types of customers, 3D customers for a very long time. I think we've been in business for over 20 years. What we always say is we have a lot of friends in the industry because we work with everyone. The thing that we always get is from our customers is that the amount of time that they've saved in their productions is key to what's made us successful. And I myself, I was a customer of TurboSquid for 12 years before I joined. So it just goes to show you, I knew very well what TurboSquid could offer. But as Lucas was saying, it was a whole different challenge when you join a team that's managing a marketplace. So TurboSquid really is, it's a great place to come to get the 3D content that you need, especially when you're under the gun and you got to get it done quickly.
That's awesome. Well, again, really happy to have you guys here. It's fantastic, really big honor. And for folks in the community, I see some great excitement in the chat. So we're going to hit some of those questions in a minute. Today, we're going to be focusing on leveraging TurboSquid for USD as a 3D modeler artist. And also, we're going to talk about how to create really cool, immersive cinematic environments. Israel has done some great work, and so has Jay Selena. So we're going to show some of that. And Richard has also prepared a really nice video about how you can actually leverage TurboSquid inside of Omniverse, walking through step by step. So we're going to cover all that more. Let's continue with introductions. Israel, you've got a great YouTube channel. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what your focus is.
Yeah, so I'm a 3D artist and a game developer. I also have a YouTube channel called PinkpocketTV. You might know me by that name. And I make videos about Unreal Engine 5 and Omniverse now. So Omniverse is like a great platform for me. I'm also starting out with it. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, for those who have not seen Israel's work yet, I'm going to post we're going to watch a little quick reel of some of his latest work. So grab your popcorn. We're back in 1 minute.
This video is going to serve as an introductory video to NVIDIA Omniverse. Now let's start by creating our environment. So we are going to replace this default sky, right? And you can use the transformation tools. I'm also going to add this rock asset in my level. In this video, we are going to explore NVIDIA's new machine learning and artificial intelligence algorithms. And we are going to use them to create pretty high quality looking landscapes. And we are going to add some trees. And as you can see, we get that forest look, and this looks pretty good. So this is truly quite powerful, and I can see more people using these tools in the future. So NVIDIA Omniverse is built from the ground up on USGs, and Omniverse allows you to connect different programs together and do that data interchange flawlessly between different programs. I mean, this is the future right here. That's it. I'm going to see you guys in the next video.
There you
Damn,
go.
that was
Nice
amazing.
little.
Yeah.
Oh, well, dude.
Thank you so much for that.
It's all your work.
Yeah.
Very cool. So really excited to have you here. And so for those who are not familiar with Richard's work, you can go ahead and check out his YouTube channel. We'll post a link in the stream. And Jay Selena, it's also a huge honor to have you. For those who might not know, JS Films. Jay has actually been producing amazing YouTube content for quite some time. He's actually an Omniverse ambassador for the community. He really has really dived in and tackled things like audio to face and machinima and USD Composer. And he's a big user of the Unreal Engine and working, creating these really cinematic scenes. But why don't you tell everybody a little about yourself, Jay, and then we'll
So let's keep it quick. My name is Jay Selena. I run a YouTube channel, JS Films, where I teach everybody tutorials, Unreal Engine, Omniverse, Fortnite, so all that stuff. But yeah, that's all me.
Well, I'm very glad to have you here as part of the conversation.
No problem. Okay. Man. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, you're always welcome. You can come on anytime. You have an open invite. All right, so let's get started actually diving in with TurboSquid. Before Lucas is going to share his screen and go for a couple slides. We're going to talk about StemCell and exactly what that is. Let's look at a quick sizzle reel. So for people who might not be familiar with TurboSquid, this will give you a little bit more background. All right, that kind of sets the stage for some exciting chat. All right, Lucas. So tell us about. Let me share your screen here. There you go. Tell us about what is StemCell.
Yeah, so StemCell is kind of a workflow and a pipeline that was started in 2018, so before my time as a squid, and it kind of was born from the need that artists are really good at one DCC, generally speaking, and they often want to sell to other people, or there's customers that want to buy their content, but it's not in the format that they need it in. So we kind of came up with a mantra of build once, distribute everywhere, and that was the driving light and force behind what StemCell became. So through surveys that we've sent out to users and customers, it's like a little over half of them either want a native format or something that they know they can easily import into their DCC. And the other half is willing to convert it. But if you've ever downloaded a random model off the internet and tried to convert it, you might have found that the textures were missing or there was no materials at all. So StemCell is sort of like an assurity that that content is going to work in the platform that you want it to work in. And it's a spec. It's not necessarily a plugin or a pipeline that you have to install or anything like that. It's more of a spec to build things. And it's a texture-based PBR spec. In the past, we supported spec gloss, but as the trends have kind of shifted, it seems like metal rough is the way to go. So we only support metal rough in our new V2 pipeline, which is in a closed beta right now. Should be public very soon. But yeah, it's a texture-based workflow. And what we want is the artist to focus on doing good art, and then we'll do the rest for them. So again, we don't ask them to learn a new DCC. We don't have any plugins that you need to install. It's just a simple modeling spec and a texture spec that's kind of been based on conversations that we've had with different industry leaders about what are they working on with different material models and different rendering engines and things like that. What's like the common thread, the common PBR thread? That's kind of what we've boiled down into a spec. And then once a model is created like that, the artist can just zip it up and put that native file and the textures together and upload it to our publisher in the cloud. And then that's where the crazy automation part takes over, which mostly consumes my mind day to day. And that's where we're running all these DCCs, and we're putting out not only native formats for like Max and Maya and Blender, but we're also doing robust interchange formats like FBX and GLTF, and of course USD. And particularly USDZ, because we saw early that Apple was working on something and we weren't sure exactly what that was, but obviously we all know now that that's the Vision Pro. So we've been prepped for that for quite a while, and we have a lot of back catalog that's ready to go in the USDZ format, and we're still pumping stuff out. So yeah, not only are we hitting those DCCs and those transfer formats, we're also doing a couple game engines. We're doing Unity and Unreal packages. So those are like assets that are ready to go. The materials are already set up. It's one thing, you just drag it in your project and boom, you have the asset there, much like a USD. And then in those DCCs, after all this automation runs, the artist is presented with QA renders from each DCC. And then if you can see in the fine print there, there's multiple render engines. So we've kind of taken the most popular DCCs and we put the data in there. Then we set it up for the multiple render engines. So if you're a V-Ray user, you're going to get what you need. If you're an Arnold user, if you're a physical user, whatever, we're trying to hit the broadest audience that we can in like the top 5 or 6 DCCs there. And then the artist gets the final say of that quality control, whether or not we did our part, because we promised that we were going to make it visually consistent. So they have these renders here, and you can see that's kind of what they're presented with. They can give the thumbs up, thumbs down.
Oh, your mic is going in and out a little bit.
Mic is going in and out a little bit. Oh, it's probably, you know what? It's the sound suppression thing. I knew I shouldn't have turned
Yeah,
it
we
on.
can hear you now. You're
There we
good.
go.
Yeah, you're coming in
Yeah,
good.
turned it up on my thing. Yeah, so the outputs, they get to have the final say on it, and we've rewritten the code so that it's a lot easier to do really bespoke tuning of our materials when they come out, so that we get visual consistency across all of these outputs. And then, of course, USD being one of those big outputs, this little GIF that's playing in the bottom here is just showing a real simple pulling this model off the marketplace. And then within a few seconds, I'm able to drop it into Omniverse with other TurboSquid assets. And I think a couple things from the built-in asset library, just to show that this really does work. And if I understand correctly, someone else is going to show this in much more detail. So that's sort of the hand wavy thing. And one thing I saw, somebody in chat was asking where they could find out more about it. That's what this QR code is here. That'll take you to the StemCell landing page. From there, you can just understand like the whole picture of it, and you can dig all the way down into the documentation. There's videos in there, there's the whole spec, and it all just kind of starts from that page there. So the vision for this is to, again, continue to support this content going into the future. And hopefully one day this will be a more of an on-demand type thing. So as things update, you can get the updated version. And hopefully the whole thing will be powered by USD on the back end. As the material models get more and more sophisticated, we're still, we have to hit the lowest common denominator across all of these platforms, which is very complicated to keep track of. But we got great technical artists that do that kind of research and work. So as things go along, we keep updating them and refining them. So that's sort of the elevator pitch of StemCell and how it works. If there's more questions that show up in the chat, I can answer them, but that's pretty much what I had in my deck here.
That sounds great. I mean, it seems like it's a no-brainer for artists who want to kind of leverage USD and multi-app workflow. Really cool, and let them create assets that others can tap into. So you guys are pretty excited about USD, I take it, as well?
Very much so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And what's interesting is that we as Lucas was saying, we jumped into this quite a while back. I think you could say our checkmate specification, some of the other earlier specifications that we had, started getting us to this point where we are now. But we really saw that like interoperability was the one issue that we truly needed to solve. But we knew we couldn't solve it without the tools, the tool makers, right? Like, so we needed companies like Autodesk and Adobe and others to start adopting standardized inputs and outputs so that content could flow more easily through those tools. So we've been watching this for a long time, and USD has been something that we've been excited about since we first found out about it years and years ago. So as we look forward, like I think that's what we're seeing is that USD becomes sort of like the capsule, if you will, that will carry that StemCell content everywhere. And what we're doing right now is we're just making sure that we're getting as much of the data standardized in a way so that however the tool makers end up implementing USD, it'll easily flow into it.
Very cool. And I think we've got a nice video that Richard prepared showing people exactly what the workflow is like. Let me see, click the wrong screen there. Here we go. So Richard, you want to intro this video a little bit?
Yeah, this is a short video just showing you how you take a typical TurboSquid asset and bring it into Composer. It's not the highest quality asset in the world, but it's a great asset to show you how to get something in and how to showcase the work very quickly.
Okay, cool. Let's watch this video. It's about 6 or 7 minutes long or so, and then we'll be right back with more chats. Keep your questions and comments going.
Feel free to skip through it.
Okay, be right back.
Hi, my name is Richard Yarlett, and I just thought I'd show you how easy it is to take an asset from TurboSquid and bring it into Composer. I have an asset here called Conference Room FBX. Obviously, the great thing about FBX and OBJs is we can bring them directly in without needing any DCC software like Max or Maya. But of course, you can do that through a connector tool. In this particular case, I'm simply going to double click on the FBX. It's going to open up, and the first thing we're going to see is this blue box saying no lights found in stage, applying the default lighting, which is up here, and we'll get to that later. That's very useful. The second thing I'm going to do is hit F on the keyboard, and that reframes the entire scene so I can quickly see what I'm looking at. The grid is on, and you can see it's a little off the origin point, but it shouldn't matter for this. I'm then going to fly down into the scene. Now, if this had cameras set up, we would see the cameras here. There are no cameras set up. That's okay. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my aperture a little bit and make a very wide lens. That way I can explore without getting too blocked. And you can see that now I'm inside the scene, but it's very dark. What I can do is I can go over to my ISO and increase it from the default 100 to 1000. And now we're looking at a much wider scene with a much brighter light system. I can then come down here and try these different samples. We call these lighting rigs. These are not permanent file-based lighting rigs. This is just temporary, so you can appreciate the scene in a default kind of way. But now I've decided I'm going to actually light this with a real environment. And what I tend to do is I come down to environments here, and we have a wealth of really great environments. The first 8 of these are dynamic skies, and you can see that with the play button here. So that all I do is I just simply double click, or I can drag and drop. Most things in the program are either double click or drag and drop, same thing. And now all of a sudden the scene is much better lit. I'm going to switch to my interactive mode just to improve the quality of light. And now I'm going to go to here to the environment options tab, and because this is a dynamic sky, we can actually control the time of day dynamically, hence the word. And what I can do is literally roll through the day and appreciate all the different lighting conditions that I'm witnessing throughout the time of day. I'm an afternoon light kind of guy, so I tend to go around 4 to 6 p.m. But obviously you can go all the way back to night, and you can actually see outside the windows you've got a night sky. And as you bring it around, the system's powerful enough and real-time enough, even in interactive mode, to see the skies change, see the sun change in real time. So I'm just going to pick a nice warm sky like this, and now I can really appreciate the full scene. I'm going to bring it down to expand the scene. I can go over to real time, and I can walk around the scene very, very quickly. And the next thing I'm going to do is set up some cameras. So I'm going to just back it off here until I get to a suitable point, and I'm going to create a camera. And then the next thing I'm going to do is fly over to the opposite end of the scene, spin around, and create another camera view. Great, now I've got 2 cameras, and the great thing about the interface of the whole system is everything is what we call a tear-away system. So if I want to tear this away, I now have control over my views. And if I want to tear this away, I now have control over my cameras. So I can switch from camera 1 to camera 2 very easily. The second thing I'm going to do is switch back to interactive mode. And obviously, as you can see, the lighting is much enhanced. Obviously, it is an interior scene with limited windows, so this is a great example of path tracing. And very quickly, we have established 2 pretty realistic scenes. What I can do is go over to render settings, go into post-production, and I tend to add a little bit of bloom, FFT bloom. I turn it on. Obviously, it's pretty glaring at this point. So I simply hold down the control key and click. That allows me to enter a real world number. I tend to start off with 0.1, and it's looking a little warm, a little hot. So I'm going to bring down the ISO back down to say 800. And now we have a much more inviting scene. The second thing I want to do is, if I go into viewport, I also like to bring up this menu. And again, everything is tearaway, which is great. So I'm just viewing at what we call viewport resolution, which means it's just a one-to-one fill. And if I was to drag my viewport around or my UI around, you can see that it automatically fills the aspect ratio. In this case, what I want to do is come up with a standard resolution and proportionality. So I'm going to pick 1080p. And now we have it framed up correctly for 16 by 9. If we want to go a little higher, I can go into UHD, and you can see that the crispness is much enhanced. So basically, that was just drag and drop and just putting in one sun and sky. And at any time of day, I can set the desired effect. And that is basically how powerful the system is in real time for a well-conformed asset from TurboSquid.
Very cool show and tell, Richard. I can't believe you did that this morning. Impressive. Very nice scene. Lots of good comments there about the lighting you were doing. So thanks for showing that off. So speaking of showing off, Israel, you also have been working on a pretty cool scene. You want to do a little show and tell?
Yeah, sure. I'll just share my screen.
And for those who are in the chat, if you want to chat with us afterwards, we will be heading over to Discord, community room number 1. So you can chat with us live there for a few minutes after this live stream. Okay, Israel, you've got the screen.
Yep. So this is the scene that we are going to make, like we're going to assemble this. Is the stream fine though?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So this is the scene that I put together really fast, and we're going to make this. So let's start with a new file.
Oh my gosh!
Basically,
You
by
have
the
to
way,
start
this
from scratch.
is yeah, yeah.
All right.
Oh, he
Okay.
meant from scratch. From scratch.
All right. This is a good show and tell. Let's see how good he is. All right. Let's see.
Yeah. Okay.
Challenge on
So
the
let's do
table.
this fast. Okay. Let's first. Okay. So I'm using the Omniverse USD composer for people who don't know. First, it was, I believe, called Omniverse Create, right? So you guys changed the name, I think.
We did. We updated the USD composer.
Yeah, I used Create first, and then I like went in the launcher, and to my surprise, like it just disappeared. So I thought that you guys deprecated it, and no, the name was changed. So yeah. So let's get into the environment. So first, I'm gonna like start by adding a skybox. So Omniverse gives you a lot of like HDRIs, which are like procedural sky boxes. You can call them like procedural skies. So in the environments right here, you can just drag and drop any of these, right? And this is the procedural sky. So this is very powerful. In the environments, you can change the time of day and all of the stuff, right? So you can choose custom presets as well. So you can choose Las Vegas, for example, and
Hold on. Sorry, we lost your screen for a second. Okay, now it's back.
now it's back. Okay,
It's back. Well, what?
it's back.
Something. Okay, StreamYard doing something funky. If there's someone on our team
Yeah,
who's in
it's doing something
StreamYard right
funky.
now, don't click on anything. Let's see if we can get it back again. Okay. Oh no. There we go. Okay, you're good.
Okay, cool. So this is the sky, right? I mean, Omniverse has a lot of different sky environments, and these are totally procedural environments. So after the sky, let's add our assets. So I've downloaded some assets, third-party assets from TurboSquid as well as from like different sources. So we're gonna make a boat environment. Like it's gonna be like a really simple but a cinematic environment, like a photorealistic environment, right? So I've downloaded this boat asset. I'm gonna just add this right here. And you can see how powerful Omniverse is, like the rendering out of the box. I mean, the real-time renderer is really powerful. So this looks good. I'm just gonna frame my shot. Something like this looks good.
Hey Pink, what GPU you running this on?
I have a A6000 actually,
There you go. I just wanted to bring that up
courtesy of
because
NVIDIA.
people,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is the A6000. I'm just gonna position my boat somewhat like this. Looks good. This looks good. Now you can further play with the lighting, and you can further like refine the lighting and the clouds and stuff. But I'm gonna go really fast here. So let's make the water now. Again, NVIDIA Omniverse has a lot of different materials. So if you go to the materials, you're gonna search for water, right? So we have a lot of different water materials here to choose from. So you can just choose any of them. I'm gonna choose this one. Just click and drag and drop this on the ground plane, and there we go. So we have some water, right? Now how this works is, if you select the ground plane, here under the looks you have the water material, right? So you can change a lot of different presets. So you can change the wave strength, the roughness of the water, the tint, the absorption, right? So this is the totally procedural material. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to like scale the plane. So I'm going to scale the ground plane about 20 units. This looks good. Now again, in the water material, you can change the texture scaling. Just trying to position my camera. Something like this looks good, right? So we have the water, we have our foreground element, we have the main element, right? The subject. So we don't have some background elements here. So we could add some mountains in the background. So for that, I have some assets right here. Just drag and drop these assets. And these are again, all the assets are, most of them are like 3D scans. So I'm just going to position this like that. So there's our like island asset in the background. Now similarly, you can duplicate this.
That's a good point. There's some conversation in the chat about the UI and how kind of relatively easy it is to move around. And one thing what's worth noting though, for people who might not know this, is that you can customize the UI to your heart's content. You can actually strip apart USD Composer and make it exactly fit as you like in your workflow. It's really just a sample tool that NVIDIA provided as part of the platform to let people know kind of what's possible. So it's really, you can do a lot with it.
Yeah. This is just the basics right here. I mean, okay, this looks good. I mean, right, this looks good. Again, you can add more assets in the level. So this is like a lighters asset, like island asset. And sometimes these assets don't have the materials properly applied. I mean, the brightness values and all are messed up. So for example, in this asset, you can see that it's a bit bright, right? the rocks and stuff. So you could easily fix that by selecting the asset, and under the materials, just turn this off. Occlusion, this is ambient occlusion, I think. So by default, this is like set to a really high value, and I'm just going to like tone this down, right? And position this asset in the background. Man, the RTX renderer is really powerful. The real-time ray tracing and all that stuff, really powerful.
I dare you to switch it to path tracing.
Yeah, yes. I was gonna do that actually. So okay, so I think this looks good. I mean, we made this in like what, 5 minutes, right?
Very impressive.
Yeah. So I mean, now let's switch it to, so
Good luck,
basically
buddy.
like NVIDIA, yeah, NVIDIA Omniverse has like 3 different renderers. So the RTX real time, right? The interactive and the RTX accurate. So this is, I prefer the interactive part tracing, and that gives you a lot of flexibility as well to work in real time, and it looks pretty good. Again, the environment and everything, the lighting in Omniverse is really powerful. Like you can change the lighting on the fly, and you can like change the weather and all that stuff. So if you want a clear sky, you could do that, right? And if you want overcast lighting, you could completely do that. So you could create really cinematic environments pretty fast, right?
Amazing.
I want to live there, bro. Where's
Yeah,
that?
man. You just created a place I want to go to.
That's what I'm saying. I'm ready.
Yeah, so this
Good job,
looks
Pink.
cool, right? Now again, let's finalize this by adding some post-processing effects, right? So to finalize with this, first in the part tracing, let's turn on fog actually. So in the common settings, volumetric fog is really important. So just turn this off, turn this on, and reduce the density to about, let's say, 0.5, until the horizon blends in with the our water plane, right? So we have a seamless transition right here. This looks good. So this is without the fog, and this is with the fog. Again, a subtle difference, but it makes your scene very photorealistic. Now in the post-processing, Omniverse provides you with a lot of different post-processing options, right? So you have tone mapping, color correction. I like to add in some grain to give that cinematic look. So just add some grain right here, and some vignetting as well. So enable vignette, reduce this, and reduce
That's
this
cool.
well, right? So I think this looks pretty good.
I think that looks pretty amazing.
Right?
Very
Looks
cinematic.
Edmer Island.
I see that's my house in the back.
This
Very,
one.
very cool. And how long have you been working with USD Composer or formerly Create?
So I've been working for around like 6 months, I think.
Wow. So pretty good mastery in that amount of time. And what were some of your best kind of ways to learn? Did you just dive in yourself? Did you hit other tutorials? I know you're a subscriber to Jay's channel, which is so cool.
Yes. So he makes great content like on Omniverse. He was the first person, I think, to start with Omniverse, right? And I watched some of his videos like to get started with Omniverse. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
We got a request in the chat to lower the boat. Right, it
Yes.
looks a little too
Oh,
magical right
yes.
now.
Yes.
It's floating, yeah. So let's lower the boat. It looks great in the real-time view as well, right? It looks pretty good.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, one thing I want to say is people don't have to go to path tracing.
I can't believe you just said that.
It's a personal choice, and we supply the technology to do everything in real time, and it looks great. And so a lot of people jump to path tracing and talk about render times, but real time does a great job as well. It's a purely aesthetic thing.
I really appreciate the like, it's really like when you turn path tracing on, you just get a little bit of a lift, right? But you can work in real time really, really easily and get that sense of like what the space is going to look like without turning on path tracing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just feel like we're all going to path tracing eventually. I mean, with all the stuff coming out right now. But yeah, good job, Pink. That's a really good demo.
Amazing.
Yeah. Thanks.
So speaking of demos, I'm not officially supposed to announce this, but at this point in the stream, I think the marketing team is all signed off because they're like, okay, I haven't said anything wrong, so I'm going to leave and go to my other meetings. So we're about to announce our next community challenge. As you know, we have them pretty regularly, and we've seen some amazing stuff from the community. So the next one is focused on a seasonal image. So Jay, you actually accepted a pre-challenge. I reached out to Jay, said, "Hey, I think we got something in the works, and it'd be cool if we featured something you could work on." Let me share your screen here. So and literally, no joke, within hours, Jay wrote me back. He's like, "Oh, check this out. Really, really spooky." So I think it's perfect. We're going to dive into this more next week on our live stream. We're going to officially announce the community challenge, and we're going to show some workflows. Also in line with that, Richard can confirm, I think USD Composer is in the midst of being updated. I don't know if it's happened while we were talking today.
I think it's officially dropped. Ironically, I think it dropped during this stream, literally. So if you guys exit the stream or after it's finished and refresh your launcher, you should see that little green bell that we all love to see.
That is okay. That's great to know, and so we're going to cover some of those updates and features next week as we talk about the unannounced community challenge. So same time next week, we're going to have some very special guests with us. Jay, you are still trying to share your screen again, or?
Yeah, it's loading. Give me one second.
Cool.
Almost there, I promise.
Go ahead, take your time.
It's ready.
Really cool to see some of the questions and comments. Here's your screen.
Okay, so yeah.
There we go.
Is my mic okay?
Yep, sounds good.
Yep.
You want me to go ahead and go?
You have the floor.
All right. So basically, Ed told me, hey, this next challenge, whatever. So he sent me a bunch of cute little stuff. I'm like, no, we're not going to go that way. But I created this little scene for him. And what I'm going to do right now is kind of just show you, kind of give you some tips and tricks about lighting. Majority of the stuff I'm seeing on YouTube videos with beginners is that they usually have issues with lighting. So right now I'm going to show you kind of like how I approach things. Okay. And I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. If you look at my right side, I'm not sure if you can read it. We have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. I usually just stick with 5, but I have it off right now because I want to show you the effect of this. Starting with how I do it, I usually do the backlight first. So let me turn that on so you can see what that looks like. Now, this light right here is simulating a moonlight, right? I love moonlit scenes, bluish. I learn a lot from watching a lot of videos and movies. So we're talking about like your Western movies, your sci-fi movies, Terminator 2. They have that blue cold still moonlight. That's what I'm kind of simulating on the top right corner there. Now let me flip on the opposite is going to be my key light, right? So now we have them kind of opposite of each other. Now this is going to kind of not show, it's not going to light the entire barn completely, just a little bit so that I have a little bit of shadows there. If you're familiar with my channel, you know I love shadows. I embrace it because I feel like it's more filmic and cinematic. So with just 2 lights that we turned on, you can already see the big difference with just 2. I mean, honestly, I could have stopped right here, but I'm not going to stop there because what I want to do is, again, by just using the asset stores right here in this beta, I just typed in a couple of assets and you can actually see my search here. I have a candle light that I just dragged and dropped. You can see them here. I have about 2. I have this chair that I have in the middle, and I have this pumpkin. Actually, I didn't end up using this. It was a little bit cheesy. And I have this hybrid that I hid on the scene. So again, with utilizing your asset stores that are free, I'm able to create this scene right here. So there's 2 lights. And let's flip on my third light right here. Now, this third light is going to be my distance light. Whenever you're watching a movie or something, you're always going to notice that in the back, they will always, most likely, I would 99% of the time, they're not going to make everything fade into just pure blackness and darkness. So what I do here is I'll put a kicker light in the back so that we can just bring that shadow up so it's not too dark, because we want it moody and dark, but we don't want it pitch black. Right. We want to be able to see still in the scene. So we have 3 lights so far. And as you can see, it's looking a lot better. Now, what I'm going to do now is in the inside, since I use candlelight, I'm going to simulate candlelight with just a sphere light. So I'll turn that on. And that's just going to give us a little bit of a kicker inside so that it's just a little bit brighter there and we can see a little bit better. So let me minimize this. And I'm going to flip it off and flip it on. And that's just going to add that little umph in the beginning or in the inside there. Now, right here is another light. So we want this light to also have some kind of candlelight. And I will turn that on. And now we have 5 lights. And lastly, obviously, since I work in path tracing a lot, I'll turn this in path tracing and let it settle. This is running about 512 samples per pixel only. So I'm going to wait for it to kind of resolve. And you're going to see now this effect. Can y'all still hear me? Am I still on?
Yes, very cool.
Yes. So again, and just with 5 lights in maybe an hour or so, we were able to create this scene right here for Edmar's NVIDIA Omniverse challenge. Okay.
Well, I
That's
was
it.
scared. You should. There's a little Easter egg in here that took me.
There is an Easter egg in here. The hybrid is in there. I hid it somewhere. But originally he's like, hey, do you have any cute Halloween stuff? I was like, yeah, okay, I'll get you a cute Halloween scene. So I just made this here. And that's what I like to do. Whenever I'm bored or whatever, I just kind of go in here and light some things and play around with light settings to learn. Because basically how I learn, I didn't go to school for any of this. I just watch a movie and copy what I saw and, apply it in NVIDIA Omniverse or Unreal Engine 5.
I love how you kept the lighting so minimal, right? Like
Absolutely.
I think a lot of artists, when they get into 3D, I think they're one of the things that they're really afraid of is shadow, right?
Yes.
You have the opportunity. You got the world's light rig at your disposal. You can add as many lights as you like, and you can make things really complicated. But the beauty here is that you leave a lot left to the imagination. Fantastic.
Absolutely. And the way I approach the thing is always going to be, obviously I made lighting courses for Unreal, but I usually do less is more.
Yeah.
And that's just the way that there's nothing wrong with overlighting a scene like this. But it's just the mood that I'm going for here. I'm hiding a monster in the scene right now. I don't know if you can see it or not. So I don't kind of want it to just saturate it with light. And again, I'm not a cinematographer whatsoever. This is the hobby here, but this is kind of like how I approach that. And I like to share more lighting stuff because I feel like people need help in that sense.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, Jay, I have to say, both you and Israel are just fantastic teachers. Everyone who's not subscribed to their channels, you should definitely do so. If you're diving into USD, Omniverse, Unreal, other great apps. Israel, what other apps are you covering on your channel lately?
Yeah, so I cover mostly Unreal Engine 5 and Blender also sometimes. So those are the main 2 apps. But now I'm going to make videos about NVIDIA Omniverse as well.
Yeah. So Edmar,
yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were done. There's a delay. My bad.
No worries. Go ahead.
So I was just saying, so there is that Fortnite Create, right? So I told you I used NVIDIA Omniverse audio to gesture to create the body motion capture for one of the characters. So if you want to look into that also, there is a audio to gesture in NVIDIA Omniverse. What that is you take an audio clip, a voice clip, and it's going to animate the body for you. It's a pretty cool tool that I feel like people still don't play around with. It's pretty much free body motion capture, because you're just taking an audio file.
Very cool. And look, a lot of fans in the chat for both your channels. So really great to have you. A lot of fans for TurboSquid also. I can't thank you all enough so much for taking your time to come today. Are there any closing thoughts on kind of what you all are working on next? What's TurboSquid got in the works next? So StemCell is obviously the big focus.
StemCell is big focus, and of course we're working with the NVIDIA team right now on building a 3D generative solution. So that's really exciting as well. Really, really exciting work going on there.
That is something we're going to definitely cover on a future live stream for sure. Israel, what do you got going next on your channel?
Yeah, so more Omniverse videos for sure. And I'm in the process of making my own studio as well. So I'm building a team of people. So yeah, that's also in the works.
For a game or for a film?
For a game mostly, because I'm into game development more. But yeah, for shorts, for cinematic short films, stuff like that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And Jay, what's on your plate next?
Sorry, I was answering some text. I'm nothing right now. Just whatever you had me do. Actually, no, there is something. The Cyberpunk ramen shop I got a hold of, so I'm gonna be covering that on the channel. So that's showing DLSS 3.5 and ray reconstruction. And I gotta tell you, I'm gonna upload it on an 8K resolution. It is, ray reconstruction is something else.
Yeah, that's a nice outfit. The ramen noodle shop is a beautiful asset.
Yeah, it just appeared in my downloads folder magically.
I don't know how that happened. Somebody must have pushed the wrong button somewhere in our team.
Yeah.
But
yeah, thanks for having me, man. This is always fun. I mean, I learned so much. Get to meet some great people and talented people. Yeah.
I was going to mention one other thing I did notice real early in the chat. Someone mentioned Gaussian splats, and I wanted to just mention there are Gaussian splats coming. So one of the other things that we're working on is a product we're calling virtual locations, which are actually sort of empowering our videographer network on the Shutterstock side and Pond 5 side. We also own Pond 5 to start generating content for NERFs and Gaussian splats and what we're calling spatial capture. So that's another exciting.
You're going to start selling Gaussian splats in there?
Well, it's we're basically like it's going to continue to evolve, right?
So, that's crazy if you do that.
So
that would be the first market, right?
I think. The tech. What we're looking at is like what do we need to give? What kind of toolkit do we need to give contributors to start shooting that type of footage, right? So that we can actually start building out these virtual environments. So it's a really exciting, fast-moving industry that we're very excited about and very much a part of.
That's not a bad idea, man. That's great. Because now there's a plugin for that. You can bring in that Omniverse to Unreal to Unity. You talk about photorealistic Gaussian splats. I mean,
environments, worlds. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Cool.
Yeah, we're stoked about it.
That's great. Yeah, super exciting. And Richard, so welcome. I think you did a great job on your first stream. You welcome back anytime now. I hope to see you on many more streams to come. Thank you so much for creating that nice video too. You also are a fantastic teacher. If anyone would like to chat with Richard about a problem or feature request, if you go to the forums, you'll see him there. And I'm sure you'll see him on one of our upcoming live streams as well. Like I said, next week we're going to cover the latest updates to USD Composer, and we'll officially announce that challenge that I unofficially announced a few minutes ago. Big thanks to Jay for doing that really cool scene for us. And thank you all to the community for watching. If these kind of shows are really helpful to you and inspiring, please let us know what you'd like to see more of. And definitely subscribe and hit that bell if you want to get notifications. It's really happy to produce this show for you. I want to make sure that you guys are all getting the most out of it. So let us know how we could help you in your workflows. Thank you very much. If everyone's got a few minutes, we can head over to Discord and answer some fun questions. So anyone watching, go to discord.gg/NVIDIA Omniverse. We're going to go to community room number 1. And you're free to unmute your mic and turn on your webcam if you like and chat with the team here. For everyone who's on the panel, you can turn off your webcam and stuff after I end the stream. But if you stay in StreamYard for a few minutes, it'll finish uploading your local content so that we can get the high res from your local for a nice video edit afterwards. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Or if you join us Discord, I'll see you in a minute.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.